when I look at that time, those things were already in me. Guys, I wasn't affirming I'm rich. I wasn't doing affirmations for I'm a millionaire. I wasn't doing affirmations for, all these things that weren't true. I was doing affirmations for things that at that time I didn't realize or recognize that weren't true, but they actually were true. They were things that were already within me. They were things that I already had inside of me. I just needed to make myself believe it. All right, guys, I'm going to tackle a topic of affirmations on this podcast, but not in the way that you expect, okay? So I'm not going to talk about how to do affirmations. I'm not going to talk about what I've done, what's worked, what hasn't. Actually, I will talk about this a little bit. I'm going to talk about the other side of affirmations and a different way to think about them. So if you're listening to this as of the time I'm recording this around the new year, and you're like, man, how do I get momentum in this new year? How do I start to change some of those habits? If you guys were on my epic planning call recently, guys, I talked about how do you really create that visualization of the person you want to become, and then recognizing the habits and disciplines we need to change to become that person, and then setting the goals. They're going to kind of trigger us to change those habits and disciplines. Well, one of the first things that I was taught years and years ago was affirmations. I remember this is probably 2008, 2009. I remember buying a course. And guys, at this time, this is when I was just getting going. I graduated college in 2006, gave myself a year to figure out this entrepreneurship thing, went in debt, paid my taxes on my credit card that year. And I was really kind of beat down about 8 months into that year. I was doubting myself, whether I was capable of starting a business. I was wondering if I'd gone the right path and if I should just go get a job. And I remember sitting there and I saw an ad or got an email or something. Here's what it was actually. The first live event I had ever gone to, and I've talked about this on the podcast, it completely changed the trajectory of my life. This live event did. It was in 2009, I think it was, might've been 8. And I was in Florida, and I met so many amazing people that I'm still amazing friends with and business partners with, over a decade later. And there was this one guy named Noah, and Noah was a really interesting cat because he was a personal growth guy, kind of like a guru-ish type guy. And his whole thing was affirmations. He had a little bit of a different take on them called Affirmations. And that was what his entire business was literally teaching people how to do affirmations. So after that, I bought his introductory course for, I think it was like $50 or $100. I went through and did affirmations. Now I'm going to tell you what worked about and what didn't, and how I think about affirmations today. And I would give this advice to anybody that's looking to get the confidence to step into those goals, to be that next version of yourself, or to grow that company you want to grow. I'm going to be giving some advice for any of you who are looking to accelerate your path towards reaching the goals, and also kind of share what worked, what didn't. So back then, I got this set of affirmations, and for probably about a solid year, I remember I'd be in the shower, I'd be in a spot during the day where I started to feel a little bit of lack of confidence, or I needed some clarity. And I had this affirmation, and the affirmation was I'd stand there in the shower, whatever it was, and I'd say, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm charismatic. And at that time, I would say, I'm an awesome entrepreneur, husband, and friend. So I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm charismatic, I'm an awesome entrepreneur, husband, and friend. And I did that for probably a year and a half. And I can tell you that during that time, it did change my mindset. It really did advance me towards the person I wanted to become. And I think it honestly was a contributor towards me being successful and starting to crack through, because I had limiting beliefs at the time, whether I was capable of doing these things, whether I was strong, physically and, mentally. I wanted to challenge myself to be more charismatic and not be the guy who would kind of, tuck away in a corner and not talk to people. Believe it or not, guys, that's how I was for years. And this really helped me. Now, as I've grown, I've started to learn the other side of affirmations. I'm going to read from you a passage from Jim Rohn's book, 5 Pieces to the Life Puzzle. I've talked about this book so much on this podcast. in the Epic Planning call. Go to carrot.com/epic. If you did not join me live on that call, the entire replay is up. It was an amazing call. Tons and tons of people that were saying that this changed the trajectory of their year, that it completely shifted their mindset. Guys, go grab it. Go grab my resources. I talk about a lot of these Jim Rohn quotes, but this is not one of them. So Jim Rohn has a very, very specific take on affirmations. He says affirmations without discipline are the beginning of delusion. Affirmations should never replace action. They should never replace action of whatever we confirm must be the truth. If you're broke, affirm, I'm broke. Okay? He said that dose of reality helps you to confront the reality and give motivation to take action. So I'm going to kind of give a paraphrase on that. Okay, he says basically affirmations without discipline are the beginning of delusion. And he said you only want to affirm things that are actually true. Don't affirm things that are not true. And by affirming things that are true, it gives you that dose of reality to give you motivation to take action. So you should not have affirmations that without action attached to them. That's delusion, according to Jim Rohn, which I agree. So when I'm going to give you two sides of the affirmation coin, then I'm going to give you some guidance on what I'm doing today at this stage of my career, this stage of my life with affirmations. Okay. So first of all, looking back in the vein of what Jim Rohn talks about with affirmations, where he says you must affirm things that are true. So when I look at that time, those things were already in me, guys. I wasn't affirming I'm rich. I wasn't doing affirmations for I'm a millionaire. I wasn't doing affirmations for, all these things that weren't true. I was doing affirmations for things that at that time I didn't realize or recognize that weren't true, but they actually were true. They were things that were already within me. They were things that I already had inside of me. I just needed to make myself believe it. Okay, I was strong. Okay, I was powerful. I was charismatic. I just didn't give myself the opportunity to do that and to create those times. And I was a great entrepreneur. I just needed to bring it out. I was a great husband and I was a great friend. Now, these things are things that were already inside of me. So I think doing the affirmations really helped me to acknowledge and recognize those strengths that I already had and bring them out more. Okay, so that's why I really feel that they worked. Now, like Jim Rohn says, you don't want to create affirmations of I'm rich, I'm a millionaire, I'm receiving $10,000 in my bank account this week. Those types of things are delusions if you're not taking the right actions to take them. So I'm going to give you some sweet short advice as we're heading into this new year, or whenever you're listening to this podcast, is if you get to a spot where you're like, I really need to create that edge. I really want to adopt these new things in my life. I want to adopt these new disciplines in my life. I want to adopt these new characteristics, these new traits. Do affirmations for characteristics and traits. Don't do affirmations for outcomes. Okay? Do affirmations for characteristics and traits and habits. Don't do affirmations for outcomes and goals. So as an example, if you want to become a millionaire this year, if you want to make $1 million, if you want to become wealthy, or if you want to become healthy, okay, if you're way overweight and you're eating terrible food, don't affirm I'm healthy, because you're not healthy. Like Jim Rohn says, you need to recognize I am unhealthy. But what you then need to affirm is I'm capable of change. Okay, that can be something you can affirm. I'm capable of change. I'm strong. I can stick with new habits. You're able to stick with new habits already. You seem to give yourself that chance. Okay. What are some other things that you can affirm if you're wanting to really build that business and start to break that limiting belief you have, or that mindset, that you have around wealth? Well, don't affirm I'm wealthy. Don't affirm I'm a millionaire. Don't affirm these things that aren't true. Affirm, I'm clear and excited about my vision. Okay. If you affirm that, it's going to force you to become clear and excited about your vision. If you're not clear on it, it's going to force you to become clear on it, because you're going to feel this tinge of weirdness every time you say I'm clear and confident about my vision. Every time you say that, you're going to feel this weird thing to go, it's like, shoot, I'm not, right? I'm not. And so it's going to force you to then take action and become clear and confident about that vision. What are some other things if you're looking to build wealth? You can say, I take focused action, or I'm capable of taking focused action, or I'm taking focused action today, or I'm eliminating distraction in my life, or I can eliminate distraction in my life, or there's all kinds of things that you can affirm. Okay, guys. So I'm going to hit pause on this. I'm going to think of a few other things that you can do on the affirmation side for wealth, maybe a couple for health. And I want you guys to think about what you want to, who is it that you want to become this year? What are those habits and disciplines you want to adopt? And in that shower, or in those moments where you feel a little bit of lack of momentum, or lack of confidence, or lack of movement, or lack of action, bring those affirmations in, but don't do affirmations to say a goal has already happened. Do affirmations to talk about a habit, a discipline, or a character trait. Okay, guys? So, not I'm wealthy. You can say, I'm healthy if you are healthy. You can say, I live life with joy. Even if you don't live life with joy, guys, just by saying that, it shows you that you can live life with joy today. You can make that true today. Okay? But you can't say an affirmation that you're wealthy and make that true today. All righty, guys? So here's a couple of action items for you. Actually, I'm not going to give you the list of affirmations. You go create your own. Just go with that mindset there. And here's a couple of my affirmations for this year. So as I was looking at it, I really wanted to pick up the affirmation practice again, because I had dropped that for a couple of years. But anytime you're looking to kind of reinvent yourself, anytime you're looking to really drive action towards a new way of living or a new way of being, that's where affirmations have been useful for me. So I didn't need that the last couple of years. But this year, I'm like, you know what? I'm ready for a little bit of a reinvention. I'm ready for that next level of me. And I think I'm finally ready to take those steps for that. And so some of the affirmations I'm really stepping into is I'm clear and confident, because I had a couple little confidence hits this year as the team grew, and my leadership ability was stretched as the CEO of a 65 plus employee company. We're hiring a COO right now and all kinds of stuff. So I'm clear and confident. That's something that I have within me right now. I can tap into it in any moment, but sometimes I let myself kind of slip back into the negative part of it. So I'm clear and confident. The next part of it is, I'm capable of more. I'm capable of amazing impact. I'm capable of great impact, something like that. Because when you start to hit modes where you maybe have a couple losses, a couple things where they get harder than you're used to after some wins, then you really need to seed in there to recognize it's like, man, this is possible. I can do more. I am capable of more. So that's an affirmation that I've been kind of stating. I'm capable of more. I'm capable of massive impact. The world is waiting for me to help change their lives, things like that. Another thing too is around generosity and around teaching. That's something I really got away from, the generosity of my knowledge this past year, because I had to really dive deep. I haven't shared as much of that as I wanted to. And so that's another one, is like, I'm generous with what I have. That goes down to money, that goes down to knowledge. And I already am those things, but I want to amplify that. Okay, there's a few others too that I'm kind of swapping in there. I haven't nailed the whole affirmation set yet, and I'm gonna. And just like the one that I read off at the start of this call from 2008-9, I'm strong, I'm confident, I'm charismatic, I'm an awesome entrepreneur, husband, and friend. I remember that one over a decade later, because I set it in place. I said it all of the time to myself, and it became true. Okay, because it already was true. I just needed to bring it out of me and make it so the world saw that it was true. Okay, guys. So hopefully that was helpful as you're stepping into the year, how you can kind of hone in that mindset, use affirmations the right way rather than the damaging way. And guys, let me know. I want to switch things up this year. Let me know. I want you guys to send me questions, guys. Guys, send me questions through Instagram. You can just do trevor.mock, DM me questions on Instagram, and let me know what you want me to do podcast episodes on. Even ask questions. I'll do Q&A episodes. Pop me questions over there. I answer every single one of them and say, hey, Trevor, here's a question for the podcast. I'm going to collect 5-6 of those questions, and I'm going to do some podcast episodes where it's Q&A. And also, guys, ratings and reviews. Pop those ratings and reviews. Let's blow up Apple Podcast rating and reviews. Let's spread the message wider and farther with the podcast this year than we ever have. That's one of my goals this year, is to reach more people this year with a life-changing message than than we have in the last 5 years combined. And guys, pop me a comment, a rating, review in Apple Podcasts. I read them all. They fire me up. They pump me up. And also it kind of helps the Apple algorithm to get the podcast out to more people. All right, guys. So y'all, find those affirmations, step into who you already are, just amplify who you already are, and let me know how it's working. Okay, have an amazing rest of the week.